Buddy, we're getting set up here for match number 3 here. I'm Brimstone, and with me, of course, I got Ty Tangles and Red Cube. What's up, guys?
What
We are,
up?
as I said, going into match number 3 here. It is still week 5, and it is still CCS R6W here. We've had some fantastic matches so far today, but we're going into another good one here. It's going to be SiNister Red versus Artemis. Probably the biggest separation of teams I think we're going to see tonight, Artemis being the top seeded team, SiNister Red being the 9th, the second from the bottom seeded team. I mean, I think we can probably assume which way this match is going to go, but hey, anything can happen. Artemis still undefeated, if I'm correct here, the last team to be so. They might continue that and hold on to that first seed there. What are you looking forward to coming into this match, Red?
So I think coming into this game, we saw the last 2 games were fairly one-sided. And it was a little bit interesting because going into those last games, we thought those were going to be the more competitive ones. So now going into a game where we're looking at the standings, like you said, this is the biggest difference of standings. We're having a number 1 team going up against a number 9 team. This is the game you expect to be the most one-sided, and maybe we actually get a complete change of the script. Maybe SiNister come out guns blazing and they realize, hey, if we don't win today, we're never going to be battling for the midfield. We're never going to be battling for the top. We got to get something going right now. So we could easily see SiNister comes out with a completely different kind of look than what we've seen before. But if we're just looking at statistics and stats, they show a lot of things, but they don't show everything. But if we're looking at them, it's your safest bet to say Artemis most likely have this one in the bag, and this could be another one-sided matchup. But it's a fluid game. Siege is the most fluid game on the market. Anything can happen.
You know, I'm kind of framed up like this, okay? But I'm going to have to disagree with you. I'm going to have to lean up a little bit, right? And I got to show off. Which side is it? There it is. I got to show off. I think Team SiNister's got what it takes to take Artemis down. I think they've had an interesting start to the season. They haven't had a lot of success. But I think the way that I've seen them play in the last couple of weeks is giving me hope that they can make something happen here in the virtual battlefield. I think that they're in this particular case, and we'll look at the rankings right now. I've got them set up here. Shimware. See if I can find them. Maybe. There they are. We'll go look at those. So we can see the standings that there is a huge discrepancy between the two, but I'm telling you right now, I mean, look at the rounds for and against for Team SiNister Red, right? That's not a huge difference. It's 8 rounds total between how many they've won and how many they've lost. They've gone the distance and lost. They've gone like a 15-round game, I think, right, and lost. And, their win, when they did win, was pretty convincing. And I think that they played some difficult teams. And, of course, we always go back to the fact that at the very beginning of CCS R6W, most of these players, even the ones that a lot of people have heard of before, right, the streamers, etc., have never played in a competitive environment like this before. And I think that some teams are acclimating themselves to competitive a little bit better than others. And I think Team SiNister is one of those teams that is making that acclimation, okay? So I'm not going to count them out by any stretch of the imagination. Now, that being said, I have predicted that we were going to be seeing closer games in the previous 2 matches that we've seen, right, than what we ended up seeing. So I wouldn't take to the bank my prediction, but I'm going to respectfully disagree with you, Mr. Red Cube.
All right, I'll take that. And speaking of taking to the bank, I think we should also maybe potentially look into the map bans and see what map they're going to be playing on. Is it going to be another clubhouse? Or actually, I lied. We're going to look at the rosters first.
So we've got the rosters here. First up, we've got Team SiNister Red featuring Anxiety, Buttersnotch, E-Girl, Blue, and Lady Brutal. They're going up against Artemis. And we've got Madeline, Aruse, Light, Swagmander, and Wolfie. And just so everyone's clear, and it's on record here, Ty Tangles did put up a bet with me. He bet me $500. I mean, I took that bet. I think it's pretty
all
good.
All right, whoa. You got to say that again because I was redoing my mic and it made a bunch of noise and everything cut out. So you have to repeat that again because I didn't hear that and thus the stream doesn't know because I'm the producer, so your mic cut out because of what I did. So you have to repeat it.
Yeah, I was just saying, so everyone knows, you put up a $500 bet that SiNister Red would take this 7-1. I took that bet, and sorry, Red Cube, did you say you wanted to double down on that one?
I think it was.
What?
I'll go triple actually on it. I think we
Hold
got
on, I'm
this.
going back to Cam. Hold on, I'm going back to Cam's because I want you to look at me in the eye and say that again. All right, go ahead. 500 what? Pesos? Deal. 500 pesos.
Jelly beans.
Okay.
Jelly beans.
We'll go with
Or
jelly
Skittles. It's Halloween, so let's get candy.
Well, hey, all right. Well, let's get your face out of here, and let's go have a look at the bands here as they come out for Team SiNister Red versus Artemis. And listen, okay, Artemis is undefeated. Yes, they took down Queen Yolamid, the only other undefeated team last week. Number 1 versus number 2. Listen, Queen Yolamid had to play. They were in first place week 2. They played second place, which is Disrupt at the time, beat them. They played another 1 versus 2 match against Artemis last week. Artemis got the better of them, okay? Can Artemis keep this up? I don't know. They got Madeline, and Madeline's been doing just nasty things to the teams that she's been playing. I think this is really going to come down to what map we go to.
Yeah. And another thing, like you were talking about, Madeline's been explosive, but if we look back at last week, Wolfie was the one that picked up Artemis, dropping 19 kills in total. But another thing we have to look at is Artemis has not had any easy games. The only games they've had, it's been 7-5, 7-4s the entire time. There has never been a 7-2. There's never been a 7-1. So Artemis, yes, they might be off to a convincing lead in the standings, but they have never had a convincing win. There's still a lot of competition with this matchup going into it. And yes, you could look at just the standings and say, well, this seems to be fairly easy.
Artemis went the full distance with Victoria's Secret.
Victoria's Secret, yes.
15 rounds total. Barely came out the other side of that with the victory. And I wonder, I'm not sure if Team SiNister Red, you're looking at Liquipedia. We talk about Liquipedia. Has Team SiNister played Victoria's Secret yet?
So Team SiNister has... not. No, they have not. Oh, yes, they have. Week 1, they lost 7-4.
So they put up a tough fight with the team that took Artemis the distance. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't think there's a huge difference between the last place team and the first place team this time around. And we've seen upsets happen all over the place, including Artemis upsetting Queen Yolamid, which everybody thought was untouchable. Yes. Nobody could get any close. And Artemis pounded them 7-4. So I really think anything can happen. And Bank will be the map. Is this in A?
Yeah,
are we in EU?
I was surprised. I was really surprised.
Let me bring Brimstone back. Hold on. Brimstone, is this EU, buddy? What's going on right here? I mean, it's been a long day for you. I know you were in EU, but we're playing Bank right now. What's going on?
You know what? I really don't know. It has been a long day. I'm a little confused. Are we actually going to Bank here?
Yeah. Is there a glitch? What's
happening?
Hold
on. Let me get confirmation. DJ, our production hand tonight. You have to let me know. Are we going to Bank? Is that some sort of a slip up? Did you misclick on something? Because that, if so, I'm really excited. I tell you what, if there's a place where anything can happen, I think Bank is that place. Because there's no intel on anybody, right? There's no intel on anybody for counter strats to be developed, and B, there's no telling what they have prepared. I mean, it's got to be somebody's happy with the decision, and the other team probably thought, oh, well, they're going to ban Bank, so it's going to be whatever other map was left I didn't even get a chance to see.
I really think coming out of this, Team SiNister wins this map ban phase, simply due to the fact that this is one of those maps where we haven't seen anything whatsoever, and where SiNister could really come out here and just completely flip the script. Artemis is a really good team. SiNister is a really good team. The best place for SiNister to prove themselves here, though, is the fact that they are on a map we have not seen. There's no intel on these teams. There's no VODs on these teams. This is the best chance SiNister has to prove absolutely everybody wrong. So going into this, already SiNister, I think, win out the map bans. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I think we're waiting for 10 to get in. I'll tell you what. I got the hoodie on, right? And let me tell you the story about this hoodie, okay? I think I was with Macy J at the time. And so I went and I bought this $60, by the way, but it's comfy as heck. So Priest, shout out to you.
Weird flex, but okay.
Yeah, no. Well, here's the thing. Well, here's how the story goes. Well, Macy was there, and so of course they give him one for free if he takes a picture in it. So I'm just chopped liver at the time, right? And then afterwards, Macy J. Anyways, afterwards, me and Priest played Line Simulator. That was in Vegas at USN. So shout out to Priest and shout out to anybody going to USN. I'll be there, so make sure you come say hi to me.
Oh, come say hi to me as well. I'll be in USN as well.
Oh, you'll have to stay on the carpet in the casino, though. You're not allowed to go off the carpet.
I'll watch from afar and be like, good job, guys.
Hey, I'll wave at you from the circle bar after the match. You can't come in here. You can't come in here. Either way, I think we're waiting on one more. We've got 9 in right now. So, I have stated what I think will happen. Red has stated what he thinks will happen. Brimstone, what do you think is going to happen?
What I think is going to happen is actually, since SiNister is taking Artemis to the bank, I think it's me who's taking you to the bank later
get
on.
out of here with that.
I think after Artemis comes out, you know what? I will give SiNister some credit here. I do think that they are better than the stats show. I'm going to go
100%.
with an Artemis 7-3 or 4 victory. I'm still unsure. I don't know where to go with this.
I think I'd like to agree with that. I think Artemis are the stronger team in this situation, but like I said, this is the best opportunity for SiNister to take a win off of Artemis. So I wouldn't say 7-4. I'm actually going to go a little bit close here, and I'm going to say 7-5. Yeah, 7-5. I'm going to go 7-5. I'm going to stick it out, and I'm going to say Artemis wins 7-5.
I'm going to say you're right with the scoreline, but wrong on who the victor will be. I think Team SiNister is coming out the other end of this with the W and just upsetting the natural order of things. I mean, if you can imagine,
that will completely flip the scoreboard.
Yeah, if you can imagine the ninth place team like taking down the first place team. I mean, first of all, I don't know where that puts Artemis. Right? They could drop as low as 4th place because Disrupt got the W. Queen YOLO Mid, who's playing off air, by the way, so we will have that VOD for you on our YouTube channel within a few days for you to go and enjoy. I don't think, and I'll ask DJ, DJ's our producer, if we have any information on whether or not that game has transpired, and if so, what the results were, and we'll tell you right now. But the bottom line is I think like it would really fluctuate on what we see up top. And I'm also not sure if our playoffs have been announced yet properly, which I don't know if either of you guys know. I certainly don't. So I'm not going to spoil anything if it hasn't, but only a top certain number of teams will be making it to the playoffs to compete, for the top prize up top. We know you got the Logitech thing, so a huge prize package for all the winners. I think they're supplying all the winners with a mouse, keyboard, and a Logitech G Pro headset. All the G Pro products, like top of the line stuff, that keyboard that just came out with all the caps and stuff like that. Yep, just like that right there. So I think it's like $400, $500 worth of gear for each winner.
It's a good deal. It's a good deal.
Plus, for those of you that don't know, all the money or all the net profits that are made off of any Twitch subscribers that happen from now until the end of the season, bits and donations are all being, 100% of the profits are being put into a prize pool that's going to spread out through, the top at least 3 teams. I mean, if it doesn't get that big, and it's donation based, and we're not asking you guys to donate. So, if you do, we want you to know where the money's going, but we're not out here making bukus of money. So, we don't want it like, oh, you got 3rd place, here's $5. You know what I mean? So we're going to spread it out to where at least it's something respectable amount. So if we have enough to pay, just 1st and 2nd, or if we have enough to get to 3rd, we'll crunch those numbers when it's time.
Yeah, and I think what Ty is also saying is, feel free to donate to them because they've obviously have been.
No, we don't want to ask for donations. We don't want to ask for donations.
Okay, never mind. Don't scratch that. But if you want to, you can. So we are going to be just waiting just a little bit longer. I don't exactly know what is going on with I think some PC issues with one of the players. But coming into this matchup, if I actually want to quickly do the calculations, I think if Sin wins this, we would see them. They would be tied with Outdeuce. They'd be tied with Axios, and they'd be tied with Victoria's Secret. That's if Victoria's Secret loses. And then Artemis would still be number 1, but tied with Disrupt. So there's just a completely different feel of this if we see SiNister win. The entire leaderboard is going to be completely flipped. There's going to be a lot more potential for the teams stuck in the middle, 6 points area for them to come up and get into the top 4. Exactly.
You don't know that song. You're too young for that.
I know that song.
Brimstone might know that song if he's heard his parents playing it one time.
That song, every time I hear it, it's that scene from Reservoir Dogs with the
Of
guy
course.
dancing
Oh
around.
yeah, with the razor blade, Mr.
Yeah.
White.
Was that white? I can never remember
Yeah.
who's which color, but
I think
yeah,
Mr.
dancing
White is
around
the
with
guy.
razor
Yeah.
blade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
If I'm
movie.
gonna be honest, the only reason I know that song is from Lego Rock Band on like the Wii.
I'm too old
It
for that, I
counts.
guess.
Does
It
not
counts.
compute.
But it was, that's the only reason I know that song. So, but yeah, so different versions of how that song came about.
Yeah. Hey, the bottom line is you know because it's a good song. Shout out to the 70s. But here we go. I think Red mentioned, one player for Artemis is having some issues getting into the game that we're trying to figure out. Now, they've got 15 minutes to figure it out, but this would be huge because he cannot continue, to my knowledge. I don't think they're allowed to continue 4v5.
I don't think they are.
And so if Artemis gets the default loss, then not only does Brimstone owe
round
me a whole
differential.
bunch of money, but yeah, they get the 7-0 win. So SiNister will pick up 7 rounds. Artemis will pick up 0 and 0 points, and that is huge because Disrupt, one win behind Artemis, just picked up a 7-1 victory. And remember, the tiebreaker when the points are the same are the rounds 4 and against. So they just picked up a 7-1, which is almost as good as you could possibly hope for. Even if Queen Yolomid, which is 3 rounds ahead, if they do worse than 7-4 today, if they win 7-5, for example, but still win, they will still drop down to 3rd because Disrupt did such a good job of doing it. So
I'd just like to bring to light for a second here how this kind of really shows the talent that we have on this NA side of things. Not to take anything away from EU, but we're talking about NA here, and we're talking about a 9th place team, or a 1st place team, however they place. All of a sudden, the entire scoreboard just shifts. And we're in week 5 here. It's not like it's week 1, week 2, where that's kind of expected. This is how close things are, and this is how closely paired these teams are in skill level, that we're even sitting here talking about a 9th place and a 1st place, and we're saying, hey, it is kind of up in the air. Anything can happen. I just think it speaks volumes to the amount of talent that we have, and this is why we're doing this league, to showcase the talent on the women's side of things in R6.
Yeah, and for what I've understood, I think in EU there's already been several players making presses for like the UK Premier League. I heard something about Benelux, stuff like that. Like they have scouted players out of R6W and given them tryouts, and they've done well enough to make a spot on the team that are going after those events. So I think it's paying off one way or the other. Sorry, Red.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and I think another big thing is it just gives people a platform to really just showcase their skills, and it's also a platform that is fairly big. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be watching these players play, and like you said, Brimstone, the fact that we're talking about a 9th place team with this much respect, and the fact that this game is still up in the air, that just speaks volumes to how close all of these teams really are. Yes, we've seen some one-sided victories, especially today. We've seen some 7-1, 7-2s, but it's been, we actually are going to be able to get the player in. So we have all 10 in, and we could easily hop into this match very, very quickly. But like we said, the competition is high, and when things start heating up, it takes a very long time before they start to cool down once again.
Yep. So I think we're going to get the R's out. Just to remind you, the folks at home, we are going to be playing on Bank. And for those of you who are impatient, you can blame Swag from Artemis.
Yep.
We'll see how that turns out.
Not name dropping here, but it was Swag's fault.
Yeah, she better go off for making us wait, all right, or put on a good show for us. So we'll have Ted follow her around a little bit more than usual. But either way, we're waiting for those R's. Sin waiting so long that they're a bit snoozy, but when they come out, we'll get the game started. Brimstone, thanks again for being here, helping us out. We're going to go take a quick peek yet again at the way that the map bans went down. Here you go in front of you. What the ban. So it looks like Border was the final map ban. That would be Artemis actually selecting to go on Bank. And just like that, as if on cue, we're going to get started right now on Bank.
This is very interesting. We talked about it briefly before. Bank has not been played. If I'm not, obviously correct me if I'm wrong, but Bank has not been played once in this league as of yet. So there is so much potential for things that we have never seen before. And like we've said many, many times today, the ban phase is where that can become very apparent. Jackal off the board, though, super typical. Jackal on Bank, Jackal on any map is really strong, but Jackal on Bank is a different kind of animal. It's the biggest map in the pool, and he's just going to run rampant with those tracks. Monty off the board as well. That could be a little bit of a comfort pick, as well as the fact Monty is a very good operator when pushing up those red spiral stairs in the front room of Bank. So maybe Artemis is predicting that's going to be the push from SiNister Red, and that's why they get rid of him. Mira is going to be banned as well. Mira on defense as well. Obviously, Artemis being on attack first, you know that Mira is going to help them quite a bit because downstairs defense with a Mira is deadly. But Echo off the board, no surprise there. And I think just looking at this has been the most typical ban phase we have seen all day. Maybe a little bit of a discrepancy with the Monty off the board, but so far so good in terms of aligning with the meta so far.
Well, I wouldn't say good in aligning with the meta, but yes, they have aligned with the meta. Let's go with that.
Exactly, yeah.
The Monty off the board, yeah. Usually when you see something like that, it's kind of a counter deal. Like we've seen Monty be played on Bank, right?
Yes.
Not even 50% of the time. So usually a Monty ban is like, oh, Mint's on the other team, if you're in Pro League. In this case, I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want to ban anything. Like they didn't feel like they wanted to ban anything that would hurt them and like what they have.
Because they also are
prepared
on
for
attack
ban.
first.
Yeah,
so it does come into play.
Yeah, I just, they could have banned Blitz if they wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe they just don't want to deal with Monty if that is something
like
that
a comfort pick.
Yeah, that's usually. I would have liked to see something else banned, but that's what's done is done, and I would have liked to see maybe a Maverick ban.
That's Maverick in open area is a dangerous operator.
Yeah, exactly. And see, Bank, we talked about this before. Well, I haven't talked about it in R6W, but I talked about it Cassie Challenger League just a couple weeks ago, is that you have to win basement. Like, basement is a have-to-win site. Because every other site as a defender is up in the air, right? Is against you as far as the numbers are concerned. And that you could take to the quote-unquote bank, that it doesn't matter what tier you're playing in, they're just so much more difficult to defend than basement. So you got to win your basement defense and then just kind of coin flip it back and forth if the teams are very evenly matched here on Bank to come out the other side of your defensive half with a tie or better. Okay? Attacking on Bank is a lot more, I guess, I'm not going to say easy, but it's a lot less stressful, I think. And, once you clear the roamers out, it's a pretty clear line of what you're going to do next, always.
Yeah, on Bank, on attack, it's very typical to see almost kind of cookie cutter attacks, same thing over and over and over again, similar to a situation that Border has gotten into, and also similar to a situation of where we saw Oregon before it was removed was. And Light is able to find the first kill. That's going to be onto Butter. Goes down. That's the Vigil off the board. And the roamers we were talking about that are so influential on this map, one is already going to be killed. And Vigil's so strong. The fact that he's dead in a matter of 30 seconds, that is not a good start for SiNister whatsoever.
No, you don't want to lose a roamer that early. And I'm not sure if they don't know about the existence of E-Girl playing it down in Tellers. She was upstairs. I'm not sure if she dropped to kind of avoid the onslaught that was happening up top, but it was just way too early on to lose a roamer, period. Like, if you lose a roamer and don't get a trade, like don't get a kill of your own or a refrag or whatever, that's not necessarily the end of the world as long as you've wasted time.
Wasted time.
Exactly. Yep. But Vigil had done neither. So, unfortunately, they being Team SiNister Red, will have to play out the rest of the round with a woman disadvantage. So, looks like Artemis taking firm control now of the rest. I'm not sure if we saw the Mozzie drop back down to sight, but they're not getting any resistance, no bullets flying quite yet. And then we'll get the hatches open in peace.
Yeah, it looks like open area has been gifted to Artemis as Mozzie is going to be sitting in Tellers and could make Maverick's job just a little bit harder, but I think there's just a little bit of a lack of intel on Mozzie, and we just need to make sure Mozzie can capitalize. Just as I say that, Wolfie does recognize the fact that Mozzie is sitting in Teller's office, and If Mozzie can get this kill, that is going to be huge just to kind of even out the round advantage. But if Wolfie finds a way to get this kill, not only is that another roamer off the board, but it's going to be a 3v5 situation. In this situation, I actually kind of would want to opt Mozzie to maybe rotate back down to site and not risk anything too significant. And it looks like that could be potentially what's happening. No, never mind. E-Girl is actually going to just sit in a corner and wait and potentially be a little sneaky around these hallways and potentially find a frag. We are reaching 20 seconds left, and there's not an execute in sight. And just as I say this, E-Girl is in a position where the flank can be absolutely deadly. We could see the plant is coming down. Mozzie is going to riddle out a couple shots. And just like that, though, Light goes down 10 seconds left without that diffuser in hand. This is looking very, very good for SiNister. Arus is going to be planting the diffuser. It's going to be about halfway, and with 2 seconds left, she is going to have to stick it. And unfortunately, they are not going to be able to kill her in time. The plant does come down, but it's going to be a flurry of kills, and it's just going to be the diffuse now. And there is no way you're going to be able to shoutcast every kill there, but it was just a lot of blue, and SiNister find themselves on the winning side of the first round on Bank.
It's been a long time for me since I've seen such a one-sided defend of basement on Bank with no smoke in a long time, right?
Very true. There was no smoke.
There was no smoke. We had the C4 come out and connect with the initial planter, so stopping that plant was very, very important. And by then, I think we had, Anxiety and E-Girl both with multi-kills, one with the Alda in hand, just cleaning everybody up. And there was absolutely nothing that Artemis could do about it. And you were talking about the Mozzie. She was in tellers for a long time, and it seemed like she didn't have intel, but I'm sure she heard what was going on just on the other side of the wall there at Archives and in the little closet opening the hatch, etc. That wall was soft. She could go for some pre-fires through the wall. Of course, we know that the attacking squad is going to be on server stairs, right? Or at least at the bottom of the server. So she had like a lot of opportunity for a late roam. And I don't know. I think it was kind of the same thing on the other side. I think the IQ heard that somebody was on the other side of that wall. And then it was like a standoff for a while. But then you look up and there's like 25 seconds left.
Yeah.
So IQ, I've got to go. I got to get downstairs and help my team. And by then, Mozzie was able to traipse around to the other side, get a couple of kills, and, a very good, patient roam. The roam doesn't have to be very, so aggressive and action-packed to be effective, because you usually say, okay, the roamer, that's the fragger. They're going to go around and they're just going to slaughter everybody and get all the kills. Right, but that was a patient roam, and it paid off dividends for SiNister Red.
It paid off extremely well because not only did it alleviate pressure from the players on site, but it also slowed down the execute. And in a situation where you have 20 seconds left, 10 seconds left, any little bit of slowdown is going to help incredibly. And we saw it there. The big reason why Artemis wasn't able to win that out is because they had to rush the plant. If Arus could have kind of pulled off the plant, maybe waited just a bit longer, that could have gone in a completely different way. But it was down to 10 seconds. You have to stick it at that point. And we saw, well, Artemis were only able to find one kill last round, and SiNister was very, very dominant. But now going back upstairs, not back upstairs, but going upstairs for the very first time, this is when you're going to start seeing some discrepancies. Like you said, downstairs defense is the spot you really need to win as a defender, but upstairs is when the attackers start gaining maybe a little bit of advantages here and there, and you'll start to see the round count shift slightly.
Yeah, so a little bit of slow going here so far. Not a lot of action happening. And I'll tell you what, when CEO is kind of the defense, to take top square like this quickly is kind of a must, right, for the attacking squad. They'll only waste a minute, and it looks like they will get a panel open. Did they? I can't even tell if that got tricked or not. I could have sworn I heard the explosion go off.
Yeah.
No, they didn't get a panel open.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, maybe it was an impact grenade. But Light will kick things off, killing Blue, and that will be the Jaeger going down. So the attack will get one of their thermite charges tricked. Here comes a stun over the wall to try and prevent a second. But, over the wall, a C4 will find a ruse. Butter and Scotch. That'll be two from Artemis down, and just like that, it's a 4v3. Team SiNister Red finding their home here on attack, but not if Light can help it. She'll find one onto Anxiety, and just like that, actually, I thought it was a 4v3, but it was a 4v4. Now it's a 4v3, but in Artemis's favor. So a swing, very important there, and the Doc, Light will find one just completely looking the wrong way, will find her way onto site, uncontested. Swag will add to the kill count, and it is only Butter and Scotch left elsewhere. She will get picked out right away, and we saw a double-person flurry of kills from Team SiNister on the first round. We'll see the same from Artemis in round 2, with 2 of the team members picking up all the kills in the round. And Artemis strikes right back, 1-1. And, of course, Brimstone will ease up his clutch on his wallet as he got scared when Team SiNister Red won round number 1.
Yeah, if I'm Brimstone and I saw that first round, I was definitely trying to maybe figure out a way to skip town very quickly. But we are gonna be bringing it back here, 1-1. Artemis looked a little bit more like themselves on that last site, and again, it could easily come down to the point that, hey, it was an upstairs hold and not a basement hold. Basement is so reliable for defense. Upstairs, not so much. But we are going to be going back upstairs, and maybe we can see SiNister have found their mistakes. They analyzed their mistakes, and they have made corrections to their failures. And we could see a completely different round here. But one thing to note about Artemis in that last round is they got window control and also heaven control, or you can call it square. I call it heaven, but
I call it square.
But square control, and they also got window control very quickly in the round. What that allowed was multiple lines of sight onto the defenders that were looming about inside the site, and also, if the plant came down, post-plant was almost guaranteed to go in favor of Artemis. So great kind of preparation we saw from Artemis last round. And it's going to be interesting to see if SiNister have a direct counter for that.
Yeah, so we'll see SiNister on the roam again. Remember, we saw one get picked off almost right away last time around, and we'll see Light head down towards the garage. She was kind of the hero last round. I think with a triple kill, we'll decide to opt to go up on top of the cop car and into the first floor from a different angle. So there will not be an engagement for the time being down in garage. Now, last time we saw Light kind of take over Gold and Banana, and was able to get Butter from behind, and then also able to find one from like the inside of Banana into sight, somebody completely off guard. Or maybe that was from Conference Room. Either way, usually when you see somebody kind of dedicated to playing the hallway like this, they'll be with the protection of a shield. We'll see one go right up the spiral stairs. But Butter and Scotch will be ready this time to take Light, the multi-killer from last round, off the board. She'll get a lot of health taken off as well, but she'll heal herself back up. Meanwhile, the roam game a little bit more successful this time around, as the Legion will find one. And so that is the Sophia and Nomad gone. And Nomad being killed by a roamer, somebody who is meant to watch flank with her utility, is a big loss for Artemis, as there's only 1 minute and 15 seconds off the board.
Yeah, the fact that the whole point of that play was Nomad was perched up on the windows and was going to get either the refrag or just sit there for the Sophia that pushed onto the dock at Kanto. And unfortunately, Nomad missed the shots at the dock on Kanto, also got killed, and in the end, a situation where you were expecting it to be four bodies on 4 bodies, and it's going to be a 4v4. It is now a 5v3, and the defense completely winning out both of those gunfights. But we are going to be seeing square control is going to be granted to this attacking team, and this is now an opportunity for them to make something out of it. Yes, they only have 3 bodies on the board, but there's still a lot of utility. You don't have the flank watch, and you don't have the stuns, but you still have the thermite and the Thatcher to get that wall open and gain some control that you desperately need in this type of situation. Oh, wow.
The jump out will find Wolfie not prepared on rappel. And not only that, there's nobody to refrag, so she'll go all the way to the sewer and make her way back inside Anxiety onto Madeline. We'll find one more. And just like that, seemed SiNister, after not looking so good up top, will have a flawless round. Artemis kind of picking them apart from behind. This time the Doc kind of held true there on Spiral, stopped the push from Light, and after that, the rest of Team SiNister kept them completely from being able to open the CEO wall, which at that point in time, they were forced to funnel through janitors, and it was just all over but the crying for Artemis. So Team SiNister will take the lead once again, and what's even more impressive, despite their, 8 rank difference in the current standings, have just been doing a spectacular job of countering Artemis's every play thus far here on Bank.
Yeah, the question was going into that last round was, does SiNister have what it takes to fix their mistakes, and does it do enough to counter Artemis? And, well, they answered it perfectly. I think, was it a flawless round or almost a flawless round? It was very close. It was a good round, nonetheless. And it was just a super solid round from SiNister. They completely answer our questions, and it's going to give them quite a lot of confidence. The one thing I actually want to point out is with that run out from Castle, there is a counter that I've started to see a lot of teams do. It's some people would say it's kind of a waste of utility, but they say bring a Claymore and put a Claymore into dirt tunnel. And then when the person runs out and they rotate back through dirt and they drop down the ladder, if they're not smart enough, they're going to land right into that Claymore. But unfortunately, we didn't see Artemis do that. And while we saw Castle get a kill, was not refragged. And that was just in a situation where Artemis wasn't already good, looking too good. That was kind of putting salt in the wound at that point, just kind of expressing their confidence in their play. And that's SiNister. That's kind of what you like to see from them, knowing that coming into this game, they were the underdogs. Now that they're showing all that confidence, it's very, very interesting. It's going to be also very interesting to see if Artemis can respond effectively, or is this going to get them shaken up a little bit?
Well, they certainly have proven in the games prior that they have the ability to stabilize themselves. I mean, 2-1, it's just so early in the game. 2-1 is just not that big of a score lead. As a matter of fact,
yeah,
it means nothing, right? Especially for a team like Artemis who's undefeated. Look at like that. Light will find somebody on rotation, take Mozzie all the way down to the ground. No teammates nearby to help out. So if they realize that that is indeed the case, of course there's no points, but that somebody is down, they might have the opportunity to finish it off. But actually very smartly played. Eager will try and make her way to safety. Light will finish her off though. So that will be the roamer off the board early. We've seen that happen again, before. Artemis taking a roamer off the board within the first minute of the round, and that whole round ended up going into Artemis's favor. This time there's no other roamer like there's been in rounds past to kind of back that up and delay like we've seen. So Artemis fully in control of this round, just a minute in.
Yeah, and most of the time, trying to clear roamers off of bank is like trying to bury an ocean. It's extremely difficult. And the fact that Artemis is able to not only clear the roamer this round, but also rounds before so quickly, it's very impressive. But we are going to be seeing another very nice kill. It's going to be Light taking down Lady Brutal. And now it's a 3v5. And on the basement defense, this is when the attack starts to constrict the site. And the lines of sight that you once had are going to start closing. And it's just going to be basically hell in a cell at this point. With 5 people on the board, you still do have that C4, but there's so much control being granted to this attacking team, and with a minute left, they have a lot of time to work with it.
Yeah, but Blue, she'll find one on the swag, but the diffuser is going down, and it does not look like there's anything being done to stop it. No, all of the defense kind of frozen solid. Light will push in. What a beautiful angle, by the way. I love this angle. Light will push in. She's actually got control of the other side, and nobody knows it. So she has that flank potential, but Wolfie will find one. Anxiety will actually spot Light out in the site. Light very weak. Post-plant situation. Wolfie will put some bullets down onto one more of SiNister, bringing Mute to almost no health whatsoever. Wolfie will finish it off. Butter and Scotch going down, and it is only Anxiety. We'll have to find all 3 members in order to safely disable the diffuser. The C4 will go out. It'll find one just a little bit too far away to find the other one on blue stairs. She's going to commit to the defuse because time was running out. But Arus, an easy cleanup there, and Artemis. Actually, you know, now it's a tie game, yes, but they've won 2 of their 3 attacks onto basement, which is very disastrous for Team SiNister because we spoke about the importance of winning basement on bank.
Wait, haven't they? No, I thought they won. They've won. That was their first win on defense, correct? Downstairs, and then they also won the one upstairs. So both of these teams, I think, have split. Yeah, I think it's split so far.
Gotcha.
So the defense has taken 1 basement, and attack has taken 1 basement, and defense has taken 1 upstairs, and attack has taken 1 upstairs as well. So very, very competitive right now. It's completely split side to side. And now looking at the scoreboard, we are going to be seeing Anxiety is sitting at the top, and also Light sitting at the top. So a little bit of a top-heavy scoreboard for both of these teams, but everybody is doing their part. And there we go. We are going to be finally seeing the smoke, which is very surprising. It's almost second nature to bring a smoke on this downstairs site.
Right.
That when you don't see one, you don't expect it. And I kind of just completely phase over that. The fact that there was no smoke these last couple rounds, very, very surprising. I'm extremely happy they are going to be bringing one now because smoke does so much to deny not only entry, but also deny plant. And yes, C4s do a lot because they just blow you up and can kill you, but smoke slows the round down so much more. And if you're on the defensive side of things and you can control the tempo of a round, it makes it just that much easier to win that round out. So I'm really liking this smoke pick here from SiNister.
The first basement win could have, for SiNister, could have played out completely differently if a C4 didn't connect with somebody actually doing the plant. When that happened, they kind of swarmed in and won out the round. But I'll tell you what, that last round we saw from that nice aerial view that we had the Jaeger was kind of the only one contesting, but he was doing it from Red Hall, where you can't get a gun angle onto the plant.
There's no denial. He has no denial.
Exactly. And so the plant didn't have anything stopping it, right? You had the only thing that could have even done anything was the Evil Eye cameras, which were off the board because Light had killed Maestro just a little bit earlier. So that problem, it was very smart of SiNister to realize that that was the problem that they had and make that change. So here we go into round 5. It doesn't look like a heavy roam game like we've seen before. And I'll tell you what, if whoever won the roam game on the past 4 rounds won the round. So to see a turtle situation. Yes. Oh, no, we'll have Mozzie upstairs, but not top floor. So Mozzie's been doing a good job roaming. 2 rounds ago, she pretty much won the round for her team with the ability to flank and waste time. And then just a round ago, she was killing the first minute of the game. So SiNister kind of relying on that roam game heavily thus far.
Yeah, and we've seen the longer the roam can hold out, and the more like you said, the more effective the roam is, it's more likely that the team that had the effective roam or the effective roam clear is going to win that round. We're seeing Mozzie in a very similar position before, and just going to be drawn down. There's no way you're going to win that gunfight with the proper communication and the proper intel, and that's exactly what we saw there from Artemis. That's an easy clear of the Mozzie. We said it. The pattern is whoever wins the roam early is going to win the round. And could it hold true here? It's a 3v5, and Sight is, again, starting to constrict, but you do have that smoke to slow things down. Could that be the difference maker here?
Yeah, and they still have a minute left to play with, but last time they had full blue control, or server control, rather, with like a minute and 48 seconds left. So there's a lot of difference here, but we have one in garage, sneak up from behind. Light will get her second kill of the round. That'll be Butterscotch going down. Blue will refrag it. So will Anxiety. Blue will go down, but just like that, it's a 2v3, and now it's manageable if we can get the Jaeger back up. But can that be a cheat? It looks like the attackers will go for the defuse. The diffuser will get dropped, so that will waste a little bit of time as now they're trying to pick it back up. Here comes the Nitro. The Nitro will go out, but not connect. Looks like it was a little bit short, and so now the diffuser will go down, but Jaeger gets picked up. But now, will the smoke have enough time? No, as a matter of fact, the smoke is dead, but Anxiety peeks out around and will not be able to stop the diffuser. I mean, it was just a second, even less than a second difference there. So it's a 2v2 post-plant situation. Team SiNister very low on health, just one shot each, it looks. So they will have to be very accurate with it. We'll have Blue reach out for the long arm and begin the defuse. Madeline will hear it go down. She'll do some pre-firing, but not find it. But a Rooster of the Hatch will find Anxiety, but the defuse is still going off. And SiNister, from the long arm, manages to snatch that round out of the grasp of Artemis. How do you let that happen? Team SiNister takes the lead again.
That is a huge misplay from Artemis. Every single aspect that you need to check off the board in order to win a round was checked off for Artemis. It was basically done. After you kill the Valkyrie, it's a 2-on-1, and the person is completely vulnerable that is going for the defuse. You just have to wide swing, go for the kill. And unfortunately, Artemis cannot bring themselves to do that, and they lose that round out. That is extremely surprising, and that's gotta hurt for Artemis, but they just gotta keep their head on straight. They can't look back at that round. They have to keep looking forward here, because on the inside, you know you should have won that round. And rounds like that is what hurts the most and can really be detrimental to your team's mentality, because that's when the blame game starts to come out in comms. So Artemis, they need to realize, hey, it's just one round. We're very, very close in this matchup. And although this is not probably what a lot of people have expected, we still can bring this back. So Artemis needs to focus up. They just really want to go into the half here at 3-3, and it will just be a completely different game. But after that round, that is one of those rounds that can really hurt a team's mentality. And this is a good test now for Artemis, who is at the top of the table. Do they have the mental strength to keep things together?
Yeah, I'll tell you, we talk about this a lot, how Siege is often a game of inches and not a game of miles in terms of like what causes a win and what causes a loss. And I'll tell you what, like the thing that kind of shot Artemis in the foot was not necessarily the post-plant play, but if you place the thermite charge in the center of that wall, it will blow out the entirety of the reinforcement and won't give you enough room to safely hide behind full coverage, right? In that case, I think they actually planted it on the right side of the wall, leaving enough of that reinforcement for that Jaeger to be safely behind. Their positions were good. One at the hatch, one at the bottom of server stairs. But if you can't, nobody can sneak or ninja defuse, if you will, from a safe position if that wall is destroyed completely. So that is hopefully a mistake that they realize, like, oh, that wall should have been completely destroyed, and make that correction. Although this is going to be the last round, unless we go into overtime, that Artemis will have to attack.
Yeah, it's always the little things like that. You stumble over molehills, you don't stumble over mountains. And it's just kind of that little placement of the thermite charge completely dictated the round here. But another thing that could dictate the round is the fact that we see Skylight Wall has been opened, and this is going to force Castle in a position where there's not really any place to run. And oh, wow. What a shot there from Lady Brutal, able to shut down the Zofia. That is extremely surprising. Zofia should win that gunfight out almost every day of the week. But nice shot there, but we are going to be seeing Wolfie just going to be able to find a frag as Madeline is trying to get as close to the Kaisel as possible. Is going to be able to confirm that kill as well. And it's going to be a 3v4 now. It's just back and forth, but a lot of control now in favor of the attackers. And this is when you will see the execute. And with a minute 30 left, there's still a lot of time to organize your execute in the most effective way possible.
Yeah, Artemis kind of dismantling SiNister Red at the moment. They will be down to 2 remaining people, and the diffuser will be going down. Both of the remaining defenders off-site. Doc on the faraway roam will make a lot of noise as he'll be forced to go back for the retake scenario. He'll opt to go and join up with Blue on the Jaeger to try and do a 2-pronged approach back onto the site, but time is a waste, and we'll have a roost set up watching that hallway. We'll get the easy kill down onto Blue, no damage taken, and now it is all up to the Doc, the 1-speed, 3-armor French, very noisy, coming onto site operator, and unfortunately for Blue, not a very good scenario to be in, having to find 4. Just no time left. Wolfie will clean it up. Too many angles to cover, and Artemis will strike back. And probably to the surprise of many, including our beautiful host this evening, Brimstone, both of these teams very much in it as the first half will end in a tie.
I think going into this game, we always talked about Artemis is at number 1, Team SiNister is at number 9, and this could easily be one-sided. But we can never look over the fact that every single Artemis game that has been played has almost gone the distance. It's been 7-4, 7-5, 7-8. It's all really, really close games. So this pattern that we're seeing right now, it should be no surprise, but obviously it is because it's a number 9 going up against a number 1. We are going to be going on to the flip of sides, though, and this is a situation where, once again, we are going to bring out the map statistics. Bank is one of the maps that is closer to 50-50. The only map that is more 50-50 than Bank is going to be Coastline, but Bank, the exact statistics for attackers is 47% win rate, and then defenders is 52% win rate. Again, there's decimals in there, but going into this as a draw, technically, based on the statistics, and we've talked about how they can be slightly skewed because these are Pro League statistics, and this is not Pro League, and the game style is a little bit different. But technically, according to those statistics, right now, Artemis does have the advantage because they came out at the draw. Is it a big advantage? Not at all. Could it have been bigger? Yes, 100%. So it's just kind of, is your cup half full or cup half empty at this point if you're on the side of SiNister? And you could look at this and say, this is a really good start for us, or this is a little bit questionable because it is still a draw.
Yeah. Hey, Ted, can I get a look at the scores again? I was just looking at our little production chat, getting caught up. I want to see this score line because I want to detail what I'm about to say. Yeah. So here's what I'm seeing so far. Anxiety's got a lot of kills, but I feel like SiNister's wins have been more of a team effort than Artemis has. I feel like Artemis, maybe it might be that Artemis just hasn't had the opportunity to get the whole team involved because Light is just everywhere. So I just feel like whenever Light does good, like Artemis wins. Whenever Light gets shut down or Light can't get things started early, like remember when they attacked up top and she got kind of snuck up Spiral and got rid of the Doc and then got a free pick into the site from there, and that like the rest of her team just swarmed, right? But there wasn't much to do for the rest of her team at that point in time because the numbers were so heavily in the favor of Artemis that even a kill for a kill will end in a win. Meanwhile, Team SiNister, like everybody's had to coordinate, everybody's had to do their job right for them to eke out a win. Sure, Anxiety has a load of kills, but but I think they're more dependent on everybody doing their job. So if your job is to kill, good for you. But if it's to get utility, to get intel, whatever, into position, whenever Team SiNister hasn't done that, they haven't had a good time. And of course, we've already talked about the roam. So here we are after the half. A half the round is gone. And for a map as big as Bank, for SiNister to have as little map control as they currently have is a little bit worrisome.
Yes, definitely. I was actually just about to hit on top of that. It's the fact that in Bank, oh wow, that's a very surprising. Light's going to go down extremely. I'm kind of confused on exactly why Castle was just running out and pulling that barricade down, but now we're starting to see the refrags coming out as it is going to be a 4v4 now. But there is a lack of map control as shots are going to be riddling down, but Sledge unfortunately going to just miss slightly. Lack of map control here, though, is going to be the demise for SiNister. They are starting to struggle, and it's starting to show. There's not enough angles, and there's not enough pressure on the site. And the defenders are getting far too comfortable. 40 seconds now, and there hasn't been really any effective push onto the site. But we are going to be seeing Sledge is just going to run into site and talk about effective. It was so close to being effective. But unfortunately, C4 could come out. It is going to confirm the kill there as Blue goes down. As just Mozzie sitting under the desk finally gets refragged out. And it is a 3v3. But reminder, the site's not, I apologize, actually, I thought the site was upstairs. The site is in basement. There is no execute onto basement as of yet, and there is 15 seconds left. This is not good whatsoever for SiNister, and the roam game so far for Artemis has been absolutely dominant, but a flurry of kills is going to be running out as a knife is going to finish off Wolfie, and it's going to be a 2v1, but 3 seconds left. You're going to have to stick to plant. Where is the cover? Arus just tries to have to go for the kill here and could be the difference, and it is, and just like that, so close to potentially going in favor of SiNister. But like we said, we saw SiNister stalling out. The lack of map control came back around, and it's what exactly lost them this time around.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Where was the cover there? It's a 2v1. Your teammate has to stick the plant. The timer is up. I'm not sure what happened. She was right there at the end of Red Hall. She knew that the last person was at gold. Like, cut off the rotation or maybe push back. I mean, you know where she is, right? They shot bullets back and forth. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but that was disappointing to see because that should have been SiNister's round 100%. At least they should have gotten the diffuser down and played a 2v1 at that point in time. So a very, very big slip-up, and we said it before, folks. This is a game of inches, not miles. That small mistake that we saw from Artemis, where they didn't quite open the entirety of that wall from servers into the site, well, that same level of mistake, as small as it was, just not being there to cover your teammate who's stuck having to put the diffuser down. You know, it stinks if you're a SiNister
really
fan
does.
to see something like that happen. But what's done is done. Artemis will take the lead again, and it's just been a back-and-forth affair thus far. Still a lot of siege left to be played. Remember, folks, this is a first of 7. If there is a tie at 6 rounds apiece, we will go into a best-of-3 overtime, and there will be a victor at some point, no matter what.
I was going to ask that. I was curious if there was draws or not, but I had a feeling there wasn't because there was a 7-8 score line earlier in week 3, so it wouldn't make sense if there was draws. But this definitely has the potential to be another overtime matchup. The only team to send Artemis to overtime has been Victoria's Secret, and if SiNister can do that as well, I think that will speak volumes to just how good SiNister really is. We are going to be seeing all the attackers trying to get as organized and as possible for this push onto the upstairs. We saw before this change of sides, both teams struggling equally on defense and on attack with this upstairs hold. We saw attackers win it once and the defenders win it once, but a great start here for the attackers as E-Girl is able to take down Swag, and that's going to be your Mozzie off the board. And if the pattern holds true, once again, Roamer down early could easily spell victory for SiNister, but patterns in Siege don't necessarily stick too long, so things could easily change here. But already Lady Brutal is getting aggressive in Janitor's Closet. It's going to not really cause anybody's wear here but it's just that kind of fear of presence. But Madeline is able to get a kill onto Blue as well. That's Sledge off the board, so goodbye to your grenades and also your soft destruction. But this is somewhat of a Cold War. It's a little bit slow going so far as we are reaching the halfway point, and there is still 8 bodies on the board. And just as I say that, we are going to be seeing now, potentially, yes, we are going to be seeing now only 6 bodies on the board, but it is going to be even all around 3-3.
Yes, it is. Half the round is gone, but we've got the 2 top fraggers for Artemis gone. That's Light and Swag both. Will be up to the rest of the squad to hold it down. Meanwhile, we got Anxiety, the top fragger for, yep, and the Thermite as well off the board for SiNister Red. So they're going to have to make a move. They've got a minute to work with. They got a 1-week operator, so it's pretty darn even right now. But they'll make a push in for Closet, something that Madeline is prepped and ready to go with the Alda. Watching that angle, watching that hole into Closet. Lady Brutal will push up. She sent some bullets through there earlier. Roos will actually put some bullets right back through the soft wall, just saying, hey, I'm watching this angle, so I'm ready for you. Wall will get opened up, and oh, Lady Brutal with a beautiful shot will take the head clean off of a roof, but Wolfie will fire back with the refrag, and oh, what a shot through the wall, Madeline. Good map awareness. We'll find Lady Brutal. As a matter of fact, she kept firing, might have found both, but now it's all up to Butter and Snotch. She's got to find 2, and the time will tick away. She's got a little bit of time to work with, but no intel. She's going to have to find this out on map awareness alone. She does have the diffuser in hand. She's going to look around just to see if there's anything stopping her from making this diffuse safely, and she will go for it. And it looks like the sound cues will come out. The bullets will start getting fired through the wall. She'll actually pull off the diffuse and get a little bit confused right there. She'll have to pull up. She's just getting damage put down on her like crazy, and Wolfie will finish her off with the Deeg. And Artemis will win their first multi-round in a row this game so far, and they'll pull ahead 5-3.
Yeah, this entire game, the teams have been flirting with the lead. It's been back and forth, and there's never has been, like you said, there's never been an unanswered round. But for the first time, we are going to see it, and it's going to be going in Artemis's favor. A nice little shot there at the end from Wolfie as well to finish things up. But now this is starting to form into a scoreline we've seen so many times for Artemis. 7 4s, 7 5s. This is kind of getting into that type of motion right now. Obviously, there's still a lot of Siege to be played, and based on what we've seen so far, SiNister is not done yet whatsoever. But let's just take a moment and appreciate Anxiety with 10 kills, and also I just briefly could not see who that was below her with 7 as well. But we're seeing a fairly top-heavy scoreboard here from SiNister. It is actually going to be E-Girl with 7 kills. We're seeing a fairly top-heavy scoreboard there from SiNister as well as from Artemis just a little bit, but it's a little bit more even on the Artemis side of things. But with that, the question that arises for a lot of people is, well, the bottom half of the scoreboard is not doing their job. In Siege, kills are not everything whatsoever. So, yes, you could see people at the top of the scoreboard, and it's going to be a little bit top-heavy here and there, but the team is still doing their job, and they're doing everything they need to do to make sure it works. So that's actually very interesting, putting a pest right next to a mute jammer. So if the drone gets jammed, it also gets hacked. If I think that's what the tactic is around that, I don't necessarily know if that works.
I don't think that was a tactic. I think that was just a Mozzie chucked some pests and took off to roam.
Okay.
Here comes Light with a very aggressive run out. She will not find anybody, though. Get detected. She will be able to get back into the building and back to safety. Yeah, P90. We saw her actually doing this last time we saw Artemis in action, and she was actually doing a pretty good job. I mean, look, it's Light, right? She's been doing a fantastic job all game long of winning the gunfights. And I'll tell you what, if you're hitting heads, the P90 shoots a lot faster than the MP5. So, hey, if it works for you, then so be it. With the ACOG, slightly questionable, right? Because Doc is such an important operator to take the long-range engagements with. Lady Brutal, though, she'll start pushing down this hallway as the drones come out. The Doc, I think, may have rotated. No, she's actually nearby, and she will make her presence known. She's actually has a suppressor. And Swag will open things up, getting the kill onto Lady Brutal, completely prepped and ready to go. We'll fire back through the window and find Butter and Scotch as well. So with the 2-piece, the roam game on fire now from Artemis, and Artemis starting to look much like the Artemis we know and love. The first place Artemis, as they will take a very early woman count. I'm used to saying man count, but in this case, a woman count this early into round number 9. And now they can kind of chillax and wait for SiNister to approach and come nearer.
I mean, nobody on the side of Artemis has even taken damage. Even with a Doc, you could say, well, you could just heal them back up, but it doesn't even matter. Doc has all of his stim pistols. And he also, everybody else on the team has complete health, but it's a 3v5. This has been an excellent job from the Roamers. And look what we're seeing. We're seeing, although we saw Swag die there, but we are going to be seeing that refrag right. A nice shot there from light onto blue. Although we saw Swag die there, and you could say, oh, they cleared out the Roamers because Doc is rotating back downstairs. The problem with this is the fact that SiNister is now completely focused upstairs, and they are wasting a lot of time because they know there are bodies up top. Whereas the site, it's not upstairs, it's on the second floor. So there's a lot of just kind of miscommunications, and there's a lot of time being wasted here from SiNister, and it's also a 2v4. So this roam game, even with a body down and you lost that Mozzie, it has done its job in flying colors and has been absolutely amazing.
You know, I think the map is having a lot to do with this right now. Team SiNister is just not very comfortable attacking on Bank at all. I kind of wish at times like this we would have a best of 3 series to kind of watch them go to another more familiar map just to see like what Team SiNister would be capable of. And I'm not saying that the game is over yet, but Arus will pick up that sick headshot on Anxiety, and now it is all up to E-Girl. And with 8 seconds left, very unlikely that she'll be able to make anything happen. She'll try to pad her stats by finding the head of somebody, and she does, but that will be it. Artemis, as the time ticks away, Light will find E-Girl. And that will be Artemis 3 in a row now. But not only that, they'll be on match point. And Team SiNister, since the half, which was tied, by the way, yet to find a singular win attacking. And back to the best of 3 thing. You know, we'd love to do it, and we've done it in the past with, like, our normal seasons, right? But if we're having 4 matches a night,
that's a lot.
Yeah, we don't have the manpower, nor do we have the endurance or mental wherewithal to do that many broadcasts in one night. I don't know. We've got Brimstone. Maybe we could throw him. Maybe you could throw him at 4 best of 3s. Either way, here we go into what could be the final round for Artemis here. Team SiNister, again, not so happy attacking.
And I actually want to quickly go back to what we saw last round with that Doc P90. A lot of people will say that is insane and something you don't want to do, especially Doc P90 with a suppressor. You're going to say it's insane, but there's also the saying that at the edge of insanity is genius. So potentially we could see the Doc is
Nobody
just
says
on
that.
Edge.
Nobody said that ever.
Commercial. It was in a McLaren commercial.
Okay.
And at the edge of insanity is genius. So potentially we saw the Doc there was at the edge of insanity and in turn was genius. But as obviously they won the round and they are also now on match point, so it worked. But we also are going to be seeing Ella shotgun, and this is not actually too surprising because you're probably going to see Ella perched up on those blue stairs and is going to hold it as aggressively as possible. Any shotgun on those blue stairs is extremely deadly, but something that is a little bit different is the fact that everything is being opened up. And that's something you don't typically see. I'm hoping there's a couple ADSs to support Ella upstairs here on. It looks like, yeah, it looks like there's going to be 2 invested up here.
Listen,
this is going to be a really hard hold.
I want to try and agree with you, but I just can't do it. I think this is totally for the memes. I think Artemis is completely feeling comfortable.
You've seen.
No. I feel like Artemis is completely comfortable in their own scan. They're on match point. They haven't lost a defense yet. They're just winning their guns. Light is doing just so good that yes, Ella shotgun, P90 suppressor, whatever. Put it in my hand, and I'll do work with it. Period. Well, I think we're kind of leaning more towards the what's given. Because I think that there is validity to the fact that you can hold those blue stairs with Ella shotgun, but at the same time you're not giving away like what's your real server stairs hold. Right? You're not giving that information away. And Light, the game that she's been having so far, she's perfectly capable of doing it. And she's got all the utility there to support her. Right? She's got 2 Grismonts set up by the doorway. I'm not sure why she's got 2 there. She's got 2 ADSs. You got the shield. I mean, everything ready to go and protect.
Also, the really cool charm on the
gun.
Don't
and by the way, like nothing is really going on the map other than maybe a couple of hatches getting open. And half the round is gone.
Yeah. And like I said before, when you don't start quickly, for SiNister. Oh, that could be beautiful. Unfortunately, Light is just going to briefly miss. That could have been an incredible shot. But the time management here for SiNister has been an issue in rounds prior, and I think it's going to be another issue here. About 1 minute left, and there's absolutely nothing happening on the attacking side of things except the fact that your Thatcher is brought down to 20 health. That's not a good start whatsoever. You have Mozzie playing aggressively. You have Ella on blue stairs pushing down with 50 seconds left now. With everybody on the board and all the utility that the defenders have, this is going to be incredibly difficult for the attack to take this. And on match point, that's not what you want to hear if you're on the side of SiNister. But we are going to see a kill. That's going to be Light off the board. That's actually going to be 2, as we're going to be seeing Madeline off the board as well. Goodbye to the Ella and goodbye to the Jaeger. And forget about time management. Let's just use our guns and let's push as fast as possible. That's what Sin is doing right now. And 30 seconds left. It's starting to take shape.
Yeah, but the Toxic Babe still in possession of the smoke. With only 20 seconds left, she will probably have enough of that toxic smoke to delay that push the entirety of the rest of the round. Here comes the Thatcher, and Eager will find the Mozzie. Here comes the and right from Red Hall, just like that, butter and scotch. Will find 2, and Team SiNister will stay alive for at least 1 more round. They will need to be perfect the next 2 rounds if they want to go into overtime with Artemis. But I'll tell you what, a win on a basement attack is a good way to mount a comeback.
Absolutely. And I think the thing we saw there is, I always say the cost of doing nothing is far too expensive. And while we saw SiNister were doing a whole lot of nothing in the early round, but it didn't matter. They pushed extremely aggressively down those blue stairs, and they completely took over the site. They completely took over servers, and they didn't even need to get a plant down. I don't know if Artemis got a little bit too comfortable and let their foot off the gas a little bit, but either way, for Team SiNister, that is a confidence booster, and it's going to help them quite a lot for trying to stage this comeback.
Well, we've already seen the closest match of the day, period, and we have the number
100%.
9 team playing the number 1 undefeated team. So that says a lot and that's why I told you from the get-go, I told you I had confidence in Team SiNister that they have the ability to do this. They're on kind of a funky map. One that none of these teams have played on in a match before competitively ever, or most of them. I'm not going to say all of them, but I know most of them for a fact. So, they've had trouble on every attack besides the last one. It's a good way to start it off, okay? But look, you got Light. She's not going with the meme operator, with the meme loadout anymore. She's set up with the Jaeger. Everybody's set up. They're ready to, it was funny the first time around, and if they won, that was cool. But now it's time to go and close this out. Exactly. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Match point, second attempt for Artemis. If they lose this round, they will have another attempt to finish it that very round. If Team SiNister can pull 2 more, that will make not only 3 in a row for them, but that will give them the opportunity to win in overtime. However, it's not game over for Artemis, of course. So here we go, 30 seconds off the board, and it looks like a very split push from Square and perhaps from the Repel coming here from Team SiNister.
Yeah, we are going to be, excuse me, we are going to be seeing, I think Habana actually used one of her X-Kairos on that castle. A little bit questionable. You do have the Zofia on the board, typically, and also an Ashe. Typically, you just let the Ashe or the Zofia to get those castles off of the kind of windows on that north side. But nonetheless, we are going to be seeing Zofia and Ashe pushing in, and Zofia actually loses that gunfight. What a shot there from Swag, and unfortunately cannot touch the C4, and that's going to be the death of Swag. A little bit kind of distracted, but an immediate refrag there, as we're seeing Artemis playing fairly aggressively right now, peeking and just similar to how Empire plays, where if there's a potential for a refrag, you're going to go out and chase it, and that's exactly what Artemis has done. That's exactly why the man advantage is in favor of Artemis being at a 4-3. But with complete control of Square, it allows Thermite to open up that east wall. And Impact is going to come out, but it's going to be a little bit too late. And now pressure has been put onto site, and this allows some lines of sight to also open up for the attack. This is forming to be a really strong attack here from SiNister, as Ego is also able to find a kill onto Light. Madeline's going to be holding this angle. What a shot there. And just like that, now it's back down to a 2v3. And with not the most powerful guns on the board here for the attacking side, and not a lot of map control, this is not looking very, very good.
It's not looking good, but they're not out of it yet. They still have a minute to work with, so they can kind of dance around the site. The problem is everybody on Artemis is pretty well at holding their angles, right? They're doing a good job. They're not getting over aggressive. We saw that peak earlier where we saw 2 of them peek the same angle out into the hallway. They've stopped with that. They've got 2 ACOGs at hand. They've got full health. They've got the numbers advantage. They've got match point. And so here's how they're just going to hold the angles. Wolfie will peek out. Will's holding the angle, miss the shots. No damage done on either side. A repeat coming out here from E-Girl. She's got an ACOG too, and she ain't afraid to use it. She'll hold that angle. She'll see one do a little bit of damage down to the Doc, but Doc will return fire and do damage right back. Bullets flying back and forth at the time ticks away. E-Girl with the double kill on the round will find the head of a Roos. And just like that, it's anybody's ball game, but the time is running out. They're going to have to make a move quickly, which means they cannot check their corners like they'd like. Wolfie will find E-Girl, shut her down. It's all up to Butter and Scotch to try and salvage the round. She'll start the plant from a very exposed area, and just like that, Madeline will clean things up. And Artemis, after having a heck of a fight on their hands, will come out the other side with an Artemis-ish scoreline, 7-4.
I think the big takeaway we can kind of bring out from this game is the fact that in Siege, you analyze your mistakes and you make corrections for all of your failures and things you kind of came up short upon. And that process was just a little bit faster for Artemis. We saw SiNister. They were adapting, they were fixing their mistakes, and they realized what they did wrong. And same goes to Artemis, though. Once they lost a round against SiNister, instead of it taking maybe 1 or 2 rounds for that change to kind of be apparent like it did for SiNister, it was an instant change. They knew exactly what they did wrong, and they brought it. And that's exactly why I think, in my opinion, why it was a scoreline in favor of Artemis, and it did get one out 7-4. But I know someone who's very happy about that is Brimstone, because he is going to not only not be giving up money, but could potentially getting some money as well.
Yeah. Also, I'd just like to point out, I did say 7-4 Artemis. I'm getting a little better at this.
That is true.
So very happy with that scoreline. That was honestly, though, a fantastic match on both sides. Both teams played very cleanly, very in sync, and it just came down to a bit better gunplay. The one thing I do want to bring up, though, I think it was you, Red, that brought this up, saying you win the roam, you win the round. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed to be that way throughout the entire match.
Absolutely. I think it was Ty and I both have said that multiple times during that matchup, and we noticed even from the first round, you win the roam, you win the round. And what we mean by that is throughout the entire, it kind of fell off near the end, but the beginnings of that game, it was all about whoever wins the roam wins the round. We saw if Mozzie stayed alive long, most likely the defense was going to win. If Mozzie died early, the attack was going to win. And that pattern, it had some discrepancies here and there. It had some issues here and there, but it stayed fairly consistent. And I think that was the big telltale of this matchup, as well as the fact that some team, SiNister, I didn't think adapted as quickly as Artemis. And also that combined with just the very strong roam game and roam clear from Artemis kind of brought SiNister back a little bit. And that's exactly why I think they lost.
Yeah, real quick, there's like just a flurry of subscribers popping up on the screen right now. So I don't know if everybody's subscribing. More likely somebody gifted a whole bunch of subs. So we appreciate whoever you are, whether you're a subscriber or a gifter. If you do get gifted a sub, make sure you thank that person in chat for the subscription. And don't forget, every single bit of net profit that CCS makes off of subs, bits, and donations this season go right into the prize pool for CCS R6W, right back into the community. So we're not pocketing anything. So it's for a good cause. Go right back into R6 community. Mr. Brimstone, I think it's time for a break. What do you say?
I do think it's time for a break. Just before we go to that break, though, those 2 people that were gifting those subs for Cerex and MLG New.
Oh, Versarex.
Thank you guys so much.
That dude's a legend. Who was the other person?
Yeah. And MLG New. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, both of you.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
Versarex, GOAT. MLG Noob, GOAT.